Hey guys, it's Joel from guntoter.org. Welcome back to the channel. And this video is going to be a continuation of our series talking about the Spiritus microfight chest rig and some of the modifications and custom work that I've had done to set mine up for my mission. Now, first off, talk about what the mission is, because obviously mission drives gear and not the other way around. Although there may have been times in the past where I bought gear and then, I don't know, just tried to find a mission to actually justify the money on it. But Uncle Sam doesn't buy my gear anymore, so I actually have to care about how much money I'm spending and making sure that the gear fits what I'm going to do with it. So you've probably seen I've got at least 3 other videos where I'm talking about different modifications, especially centering around S-Tac Kiwis, that you can do to make them work in the microfight chest rig. My mission right now is short duration, urban, residential, small commercial, small to medium buildings. I've got support, I've got medical, and this is not the kind of rig that, you know, you're going to drop me off on the side of a mountain in Afghanistan and I'm going to be stuck out there for days at a time without support. So I went with something minimalist, which is why I went with the Spiritus in the first place. Spiritus makes a lot of great products. I am a little picky when I come to gear and how I set my gear up. So I really like to reach out to smaller companies, especially custom makers, and get stuff that is kind of tweaked to my specific desires. And you'll see that here in this. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Wild Bill Tactical. I've talked about them before. Especially with the S-Tac Kiwi conversion kit that they sell, which I do have back here. I've got it set up as a 2 magazine. But I've also got some other stuff in here. I talked previously about the mesh backer. I do really like that. Adds a little bit of layer of comfort when I'm wearing this, when it's not on my armor, when it's just sitting on my chest. It's a little bit more comfortable than just the piece of hook that they send it with. So if you actually go on Spiritus's website, obviously they sell a lot of accessories for their microfight. They sell 2 types of flaps. One of them is the full flap and one of them is the half flap. Like I said, I'm a little picky about how I set my stuff up. So 2 things I carry with me almost all the time is a flashlight, a secondary flashlight for like interior searches and things like that, and also a multi-tool. Now, I like to carry those on the chest rig, and my concern was that if I had a half flap and I had the 2 items in there and I was in an awkward position, I could possibly have one fall out while I was reaching for the other one. So instead of having the half flap, I asked Wild Bill to create quarter flaps, which would allow me to access each of those items individually. So as you can see, I've got those, and when I open one, I've got access to just the one item and not to possibly both. Really like those. It doesn't sound super crazy and super innovative, but it's little stuff like that that can really kind of make the difference. One of the other things I have in here is I have the pouch divider, which is right in here, and it's dividing my tools from kind of a small general purpose pouch for batteries, a small camera, keys, little stuff that I want to have a little more secure than just with a flap. On the back, I do have their mesh backer, which I'm a big fan of. Adds a little bit of extra comfort when you've got it just sitting on your chest, as opposed to the piece of hook that they provide with the Spiritus. And then obviously I have the S-Tac Kiwi conversion kits set up for a 2 mag setup in here. And so that's some of the Wild Bill equipment that I've got on here. So moving on from Wild Bill onto Axle. Axle Advanced. They sell a bunch of different upgrades for everything from Cryo to Spiritus and so on. The ones that kind of piqued my interest the most were they sell these zipper tops. They actually have 4 different versions. They have a full length and they have the half length. This is the half length. And then they have them in basically a flush fit that sits right at the top of the Spiritus pouch. And then they have kind of the extended. They call it the high, I believe. I went with the high. Gives about an extra inch of pouch space, but at the same time, it's not so high that it interferes with your ability to get your magazines. So it's really a well-designed, well-thought-out piece of equipment. And like I said, I feel like it's a little more secure than just a flap top for those smaller items. So I have the Axle Advanced. S-Tech, obviously I have the conversion, so I have the Kiwis in here. I also have, this was actually an item that they offered. It was a bungee retention kit for magazines, but I've repurposed it into a radio retention kit. I did switch out the nylon that they had up here originally for an S&S Precision tab. I like those a little bit better. But it's basically just two pieces of nylon that Velcro in, or that hook in. I don't know if I'm allowed to say Velcro anymore. Bungee retention and the S&S tab. That might be getting switched out because I've noticed that with the two magazines in here, putting the radio in there is actually a really tight fit. And the problem with that is if I were to have to pull it out to work on it, whether it's to mess with settings or change out a battery or whatever, it's actually really hard to get the radio back in there when it's on me. And I don't want to have to take my entire chest rig off just to put my radio in and out. So that may get moved. Likely it's going to go on my belt or possibly in the side pocket of the Slickster that I wear. So what's likely going to happen is I'm going to end up putting in the third Kiwi and just put that in there. The other item that I have in here, the other company that I have in here is actually holding my flashlight and my multi-tool, is a collaboration between Mil-Spec Monkey and Tactical Tailor, and it's basically one wrap that's been sewn into an adjustable pouch. It was originally designed, I believe, for some of the loop-lined like messenger bags and backpacks and so on and so forth, but it actually works really well in the Spiritus and similar items. The only modification I had to make to it was that they give you a lot of hook on the backer, and it actually had a little bit wider footprint than I needed. It was actually taking up a little too much space in the pouch. So all I did was go in, trim that down a little bit, and now it fits perfectly. And it actually provides, you know, a nice level of retention on its own. You know, it's pretty secure. And then when you add the quarter flaps on top of that, you know, I'm not worried about that being an issue. So anyway, that's the overall. Like I said, it's a minimalist rig, right? You know, I don't have a ton of stuff on here. This is like the bare minimum stuff I need to perform the mission, given that I have support readily available. So if this was useful for you, and I hope it was, please hit like, please hit subscribe. You know, go in and click all the buttons except for the report one. Don't click that one. We have enough issues with that as it is. We also have a Patreon page if you'd like to support us that way. If you don't want to support us monetarily, I understand. I do appreciate shares. If you do want to support us monetarily on the Patreon side, plan on having some giveaways coming once we actually get that up and running. So just a heads up, it may be worth your while in addition to all this awesome information that I'm putting out. So thanks for watching. I hope it was useful for you, and I hope to see you again soon.